Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Momentum Channel. My name is Mo, and today we are going to be talking about four quality exchange traded funds that allow investors to get exposure to the energy sector, particularly to the oil and gas. As you know, oil and gas prices are soaring, and they're at the hottest level in the past 14 years, given some of the conflicts that we are seeing in the geopolitical aspect that presents opportunities for investors to take advantage of that. As a result, we're going to be talking about the four high quality exchange traded funds that give you such a chance. The first ETF for us to review is, in fact, an energy select sector SPDR fund. It is available with ticker symbol XLE and it's available in US dollars. XLE provides investment results that, before expenses, correspond generally to the price and yield performance of the energy select sector index, and it seeks to provide precise exposure to companies in the oil and gas and consumable fuel, energy equipment, and services industries. Let us take a look at some additional funds. In terms of assets under management, we are looking at close to $38 billion assets under management. XLE was added to the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA exchange back in December 22nd of 1998. So it goes back to many, many years ago. And if you look at some of the details in terms of the distribution yields, we are looking at a 30-day SEC yield of 2.85% annualized. The 30-day SEC yield is also known as the standardized yield, which is an annualized yield that is calculated by dividing the net investment income earned by the fund over the most recent 30-day period by the current maximum offering price. And looking at the pricing for this fund, the last price for that was at $76.34 at the end of the trading day. In terms of the performance for this fund, as of end of February, if you look at it, based on the market value for the fund, the 1 month return is showing to be at 7.15%. The 1 year return is showing to be at 53.32%. Year to date return is an impressive 27.3%. 3 years annualized return of 8.73%. 5 year annualized return of 4.56%. 10-year annualized return of 2.92%, and the inception return, the return actually since inception going back to December of 1998 is 7.37% annually. In terms of the top holding for XLE fund, we are looking at companies that are listed on the screen. More specifically, you notice here we're looking at ExxonMobil, Chevron, EOG Resources, ConocoPhillips, and Schlumberger. These are the top 5 holdings within this fund, which are similar to that of the index as well. As talked about, the breakdown by industry, you're mainly getting exposure to oil and gas consumable fuels, with the remaining 10% of the exposure being from energy equipment and services. We're going to take a look at our second pick. This is one that is available in Canadian dollars. Ticker symbol XEG is iShares S&P Toronto Stock Exchange Capped Energy Index ETF. The last closing price for that was at $14.50 Canadian. Year to date is showing a massive return of 36.9%. XEG is targeted with exposure to companies in the Canadian energy sector and can be used to express a sector view because you're getting exposure to that energy sector. Looking at the longer term returns as of the end of February, the 1 year return is showing a massive 93%. It's just incredible. 3 year return annualized of 13.6%. 5 year annualized return of 4%. 10 year annualized return is negative 0.61%. And the annualized return since the inception of this ETF is at 5.42%. In terms of some of the other key facts, the inception date for this ETF goes back to March 19 of 2001. The distributions here are paid on a quarterly basis, and the fund's ETF is also rebalanced on a quarterly basis. The distribution yield we are looking at is at 1.61%. Looking at the fee that you would be paying by owning this ETF, we are looking at a management expense ratio of 0.61%. From a risk indicator perspective, you're looking at a high risk. The companies that are in as part of this holding and part of the this fund make it high risk ETF. In terms of holdings, we are looking at overall 24 holdings, with the top 10 of them being listed here. The largest holding is for Canadian Natural Resources, ticker symbol CNQ, followed by Suncor, Cenovus Energy, Tourmaline Oil, and Imperial Oil. These are the top 5 holdings for this ETF that we've looked at. And this was, as we talked about, XEG. With that out of the way, we have one more in Canadian dollars. This is our third pick. It's with BMO Global Asset Management, ticker symbol ZEO. The ETF is called BMO Equal Weight Oil and Gas Index ETF. This ETF, ZEO, has been designed to replicate to the extent possible the performance of the Solactive Equal Weight Canada Oil and Gas Index, net of expenses, and invest in holds the constituent securities of the index in the same proportion as they are reflected in the index. Some of the benefits of it could be designed for investors looking for growth solutions, exposure to Canadian oil and gas stocks, and also equal weight to lessen security-specific risks. We're going to take a look at some additional specifics. The currency for this ETF, ZEO, is in Canadian dollars. The last closing price for that was at $59.55, with an annualized distribution yield of 2.70% at the end of February. In terms of management expense ratio, we are looking at 0.61%, and the distributions are paid on a quarterly basis. Inception date for ZEO goes back to October 20th of 2009, and risk rating is again at a high level. Let us take a look at the past performance of ZEO and get a better grasp of it. At the end of February, if you look at it, the 1 year return based on the net asset value was at 70.3%. 2 year annualized return was at 28.9%. 3 year annualized return of 12.9%. 5 year annualized return of close to 2.1%. 10 year annualized return of negative 1.27%. And the annualized return since the inception date is at negative 0.77%. With that, we are going to take a look at the holdings here. We are in total showing 10 holdings, and it's actually listed here for us as well. We have companies such as Cenovus, Suncor, Canadian Natural Resources, Imperial, and Tourmaline Oil Corporation. These are the top 5, and the rest are pointed out here for you on the screen in terms of the holdings. Pretty much all the exposure is to stocks, with a minimal portion to cash and cash equivalents. And in terms of total net assets, we are looking at $267.2 million assets. Lastly, our fourth pick is Horizon Crude Oil ETF, ticker symbol HUC, with an inception date of June 24th of 2009. HUC has about $62.2 million in assets under management. It is available in Canadian dollars with a last closing price at $22.51, available on Toronto Stock Exchange. We're looking at the management expense ratio of 0.88%. What this management expense ratio suggests is that if, let's say, you invest $10,000, you would be paying a fee of $88 at the end of the 1 year. HEC seeks investment results before fees, expenses, distributions, brokerage commissions, and other transaction costs that endeavor to correspond to the performance of the Solactive Light Sweet Crude Oil Winter MD Rolling Future Index. And if we look at its past performance, we're going to take a look at it in a moment. You'd notice how at the end of February 28, 2022, we are seeing for this ETF, the year-to-date return was at 17.49%, 1 year return of 54%, 3 year annual return of 12.9%, 5 year annual return of 9%, and the 10 year annual return is at negative 2.45%. And the return also is shown in different time horizon on the screen as well. We're going to take a look at distributions just to see. As you notice, this fund does not currently have any distributions. If you look at the holdings, the entire holding is based on the winter term crude oil exposure. Lastly, here is a list of a couple of other honorary mentions of additional ETFs that can provide you exposure to investing in energy sector, particularly in oil and gas. Be sure to check them out if that interests you. We hope you found this video beneficial and gained something of value from it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone else who might benefit from the video as well. Of course, subscribe to our channel here on Momentum Finance. We post every week several videos about investing, whether it's investing in the stock market, real estate, and cryptocurrencies, as well as ways to reach financial freedom. Thank you, and we hope to see you next time.